All right, well, I'll get started. So my name is Greg Poblete. I'm a writer with Mixdown Music, and I'm here with Ryan Young and Alan Sparhawk, and I'm going to be talking to them about their new record, Alan Sparhawk and Trampled by Turtles. Yeah, first of all, where are you guys, and where are you currently in the world, and how are you?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm currently at home in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, in the United States, and the weather's beautiful today. I got a day off from touring and just hanging out and doing home stuff. It's awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. I'm in Duluth, Minnesota, at home. Um, I don't know. Yeah, getting ready to go to Montreal actually tomorrow.
Nice. Exciting. And I know you guys are on a little bit of a break from touring. How has the tour been, and how has it been able to play these songs live?
Well, we're actually getting ready to, I don't know, we're getting ready to do the first turtle with the Turtles here coming up in a couple weeks in San Francisco. And so I don't know, the last couple weeks we got together and rehearsed a bit. I've been out on tour kind of throughout the year with my three-piece band, my son on bass, and a friend of mine named Eric Pollard on drums. And so yeah, we've been playing these songs out on live, and it's been fun. Sometimes the guys from Turtles, there's been a couple occasions where some people from the Trampled by Turtles have joined some of the shows, just individuals, so to speak.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So I do want to ask, like, what was it working like, or what was it like working with Trampled by Turtles on this project, and why do you think this was such an important record to work on with them?
Wow, where do I start? I don't know. The Turtles are old friends. We kind of are all from the same town, or at least the Turtles started in Duluth here when we were all a bit younger, and so we kind of saw them get going. Turtles came on a tour with Low pretty early on, and opened for us. It was kind of their first few gigs outside of the state, and when they first started, and then fairly quickly after that, they became quite big and popular, and I don't know. Yeah, there've been just a lot of times over the years we've crossed paths. They would invite us up to sing with them sometimes at shows, and they different individuals from the band have played on our records, and we played each other's songs and stuff like that. So it's kind of a friendship and sort of a setup that's always there. I think, like a lot of friends and bands and stuff, you the casual mention of like, hey man, we should do something together sometime, or we should record something, or hey, we should do that tune together, or something comes up from the time to time, and you learn to uh, you learn to be patient for when those dreams actually come true. And but yeah, a couple years ago, those guys had me ride along on a few shows that they were doing, and that conversation sort of was it breached, so to speak, was whatever the word is for that. It came up again, and at kind of the last minute, an opportunity came up to join them in the studio where they were working on some other stuff. And what started out as just, let's play a couple songs together and see what happens. It ended up being a really big afternoon. We got like five or six songs done in just one afternoon, and made quick plans to do a couple more tunes to finish a record out. It's not what we set out to do, but work went really easily and quickly, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I had worked with them before, and I knew how they worked, and we all, I don't know if it's a regional thing or just a experienced musician thing, but or just I don't know. There's a common attitude there that we have of let's just kind of throw something together quick and trust our initial uh thoughts and initial takes on stuff, and and roll, try to just make something real.
Mm.
So it was very quick and simple, and it's I was overwhelmed. It's really beautiful and surprising, but it also was not surprising because I knew these guys were really quick and good and had an attitude about making music and an attitude about what I did. They were good friends, and I knew they would step up, and it definitely happened. So
That's beautiful. I mean, it definitely sounds like it's a collaboration, like definitely in the works for a long time. So I'm glad that it finally came to fruition. Um,
yeah, me too.
yeah. What would you say was like the hardest part working with like, the Turtles, and would you feel like do you feel like there was like a new way that you approach creating music when you work with them?
Um, well, the hardest part for me was at the time I was still at the time that we got together recording, I was still pretty thrown back with the loss of my wife, and uh, I had been really struggling for a while with kind of what I was doing. Uh, a lot of the old ways of making music and all the old sounds of the way I would approach music were kind of disorienting for me at the time, and I remember being especially anxious about my voice and could not, I don't know, just struggled to have perspective on it. I couldn't tell if what I was doing was any good, and uh, and just yeah, I think that was the hardest thing is when I went to go do the vocal takes. I really had to just trust the situation and trust the preparation and trust the people that we were working with to help me get something respectable down. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I just couldn't get a bearing on whether what I was doing was right or good or whether I was singing very well. Um, yeah, it's hard to describe. It just years of working closely with my partner Mim, singing. I'd really kind of come to depend on that conversation and that interaction for figuring out if what I was doing was working. So, and then also just sort of the shock and sort of the disorientation that happens, when you lose somebody. And um, so for me, that was the hardest part. The music fell together very, very naturally and without much conversation at all. And but yeah, for me, the hardest part was the singing, and then even into mixing the record, I had to put a lot of trust in the people we were working with. Nat Harvey, um, who mixed the record, I really had to rely on them to help me see what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds like it was a very cathartic and very healing process for you, and definitely like almost like a necessity. Like there was no other place to turn but to the music. And so you kind of just had to power through just whatever you were making, just trust that it was okay and it was like gonna get you to where you needed to be.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite tracks is Hum or Heaven. It's just I love the beautiful vocal harmonies and just just I feel like it's a track that really kind of gives you perspective on the afterlife, has thinking about that, and obviously with the passing of Mim and everything, like obviously, I know it's a hard and I'm sorry, but yeah, has that changed your perspective on, what happens when we leave this place?
Well, it's a pretty loaded question. No, I don't know. Yeah, well, honestly, I mean, as a person who more or less kind of grew up in a fairly religious environment, I grew up Mormon, and there's a very strong and sort of deep um, um, conversation in that religion about where we came from and where we're going and sort of the purpose of life and the connections that we have with family. And so I had that foundation, and that was something that had been, a strong foundation through my life, and it had gotten me through some difficult times, and probably enhanced my family and enhanced our relationship with sort of a perspective and something to lean on and gain perspective about harder things through. But yeah, when you lose someone, it's really quite a shock. Uh, y there's the things that are around us, material things, this desk, this chair, they exist. The material that is there has always existed in one form or another, and you could smash it into toothpicks and into fibers and into dusts, and it would still exist essentially, and it would continue on through time as in some form or another. And but this a person when they pass and sort of their presence, their spirit, if you want to call it that, their essence really does disappear, and it's a shock because it really flies in the face of sort of this tangible, you know, uh, this tangible existence we have, and so yeah, it's been honestly pretty difficult to feel the eternal nature of things. I mean, I'm hopeful, and I I probably tend to want to lean on those things anyway, even if I'm not sure, because I think they bring out the better side of me when I do have that hope. Um, but I gotta admit, it was it definitely shook my faith and shook my perspective, and it continues to force me to ask questions, and it continues to puzzle me sometimes, and uh, and challenge me to to open my eyes and see the things that are real and are foundational things that are good, and see the forces in the universe that actually are doing things, whether it's love or patience, or the way time moves. It's definitely been a new, I don't know, it's been a new journey with that. And again, I stay hopeful. I mean, there are moments for sure through music that I feel like um, we can transcend, and we can touch and get a sense of something higher and something beyond our senses, for sure. So I'm glad I have that. I've been able to play music with my family. My kids are musicians as well, and that's been pretty powerful to sort of continue that connection and that closeness with family.
That's beautiful. And it does sound like even through the music, like even with this latest album, like her presence is still there. She's kind of like still channeling through you and your energy. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely, you know, I definitely owe her for a lot of what I am able to do, and she definitely shaped, yeah. She for sure continues to be an influence.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for like even just sharing this and like really, I know it's a very powerful thing, music, and I think it's just stories like this that really like connect like just humanity together. And so, yeah, I really do appreciate it. Um, yeah, another track I really do like is Screaming Song, especially like the instrumentation of it. Like I love the angry fiddle solo towards the end. Like it just sounds like it's in pain. Like I really want to know like what do you feel like instrumentally, having all this raw bluegrass instrumentation adds to the telling of this album?
Um, well, I don't know. I mean, I hope Ryan will jump in here on this question for sure. Um, Putting that song together was very quick. There was a lot of it was a lot of trust that I knew yeah, I don't know. We went into doing that song pretty pretty simply. There was not a lot of talk about it. I kind of showed the guys the structure a little bit, and I turned to Ryan and said, you know, there's kind of an instrumental moment here. You know, go ahead and see what you can put together. You know, see what comes to you for this moment. And so, I mean, near as I can remember, I mean, we basically did one take, and that's what Ryan uh, pulled together. And you know, you say there's pain in there. There's everything there. There's shock. There's denial. There's pain. There's exhaustion. There's resignation. I don't know. Again, I'd be yeah. Ask Ryan about that. I was speechless at the end of the take for sure.
Yeah, well, what
Yeah,
do you have to share?
I honestly don't remember doing it. I don't remember playing that song. I don't remember recording it. Uh, it does make sense that you said there was one take. I don't remember, trying it again a different way or doing anything like that. It just kind of happened. You know, I got to hear the lyrics before we actually recorded it because Alan so graciously, I loved it. He sent us some demos to so we could hear the chord changes and hear the lyrics and just get a sense of what we're getting into basically. And so I knew what that song was about. And I went through my own version of what Al went through. It's different, not the same at all, but just a different version of it. So I was able to maybe uh, just kind of take uh, take his lyrics and relate it to my own situation that I went through and play. I wasn't playing as if I was Alan necessarily, or playing, putting myself in his shoes or anything like that. Um, it just seemed appropriate, I guess. And again, I'll just remind you that I don't remember doing it. I don't remember what I was thinking. I'm just kind of coming up with an answer.
Yeah. So it was more of like a subconscious thing, like your fingers, your everything knew what to do, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's the song is called the Screaming Song, and the if you listen to the lyrics, you immediately, if you know the story of Al Sparhawk, you
Mhm.
kind of know what that song is about. And it just seemed appropriate. Like I wasn't gonna play a pretty like Baroque sounding violin part over that, That just wouldn't have been right.
I mean, it came out really beautifully, and the fact that it was one take is, I don't know, that's very telling of like that was just natural for you to get to that place. So that's really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you feel like when like you are creating like the instrumentation around Alan's lyrics, like do you have to like intentionally like see the story first, or do you kind of already have like the skeleton of what you're gonna do?
I would say each song would be different. I didn't have a plan that I or a blueprint that I applied to each song.
Mm,
One really great thing about Trampled by Turtles that I love playing with them is that everybody is such a good listener
mm,
and excellent musicians. So uh and so is Al. So like if Al is playing a certain thing on the guitar or singing a certain way, or if Banjo Dave is playing a certain lick on the banjo, and everybody will if either make room for that or support it in some way, and it's just lightning quick. We don't really rehearse very much, and we don't pre-plan anything. Everybody just listens really, really hard and really well, and plays off of everybody and makes makes everybody's working towards the same goal of just making that sound as good as possible, you know.
That's
With very
beautiful.
little, there's nobody talks about it really. Nobody tells anybody else what to do unless there's like there's exceptions, but like for the most part, people just use their ears and brain and don't use their mouth.
That's cool. And it just sounds like it's kind of just like an unspoken language music. You just kind of like know exactly what you're going to say even without having to say it. That's really
Right.
beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing I did want to talk about, it's kind of a detour, but I do love the album artwork. It kind of looks like a hodgepodge of like different ancient artifacts. I do want to know like what's the story behind it and how does it connect to the songwriting on the album?
Well, I don't know. For the artwork, I was kind of puzzling. The record was done and mixed, and sort of the schedule pressure was a little bit on, and people saying, "Like, do you have artwork yet?" And like, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And for me, usually I'm just kind of open. I open up my eye and keep my eye out for something that hits. And been lucky over the years. Usually, something will come across my path that as soon as I see it, I know. And I don't know. I was over walking in Superior, which is a town across the harbor in Wisconsin from Duluth, and walked by a friend of ours' tattoo shop, and this painting was up in the window just as part of the decoration. It's just kind of the art scene. Musician, this tattoo artist friend is also a musician, and yeah, Jay Whitcomb is an artist from town who I've known of, seen his stuff around, and I don't know. I just saw the painting, and it hit me, and I thought, wow, that actually really looks like the right thing. I wanted something that kind of reflected. I don't know. I guess I was looking for something that sort of hinted at the fact that it was maybe more organic
Hmm.
music, a little more um, yeah, organic, earthy, acoustic, but also raw. Um, I've always loved I've always loved visual arts and abstract painting, abstract visuals that sort of ride that edge of reference. Uh, and it's- and I don't know. There's something about I think especially the jawbone is a very powerful image and uh, I don't know if you can see on there on the painting it says Jesus en larmes, which is French for Jesus in tears, and I don't know, just that phrase to me it felt respectful and mournful, but also obscure enough. I didn't want to call the record that necessarily. I thought that might be a little too on the nose, but yeah, it was just an artist from town and saw the piece and just it immediately resonated. And I walked in and asked what was up with that painting, and again, it turned out to be this person from town named Jay Whitcomb who I'd seen stuff before from, but I hadn't seen this painting, and you know, made a couple calls and we were in.
Nice. It is a moving piece, and I really do love the artwork a lot. Yeah, I do have a couple more just to get you guys going in a little bit. But yeah, like as you continue, your healing journey throughout, art and commu with art and community and collaboration, what kind of advice would you give to people who are also either in a difficult place or like struggling, that need some kind of outlet to express themselves in some way?
Well, well, one thing I definitely learned is that there's no advice. There's no really perfect advice you could give anybody who's going through that. You know, uh, kind words, book recommendations, that kind of stuff is real natural. Everybody reacts everybody reacts to that kind of stuff differently, whether, a friend going through something like that. Yeah, I was the humble recipient of many kindnesses and many kind words and uh, you learn pretty quickly that everybody has a different way of expressing that, and even people who didn't have anything to say, who couldn't say anything, and who maybe even had to consciously or subconsciously keep distance from that, you learn pretty quickly to respect that as well, and because there's really a wide variety of ways that we each deal with those things, and they're all just as valid as any. And um, I don't know. I think probably the most helpful thing you can do is just spend time with the person if you can stand it, and and that's kind of part of your nature. Go ahead and just spend time with the person or invite them along to something that you're doing. Um, just sometimes just the very fact of getting out of the house can be really helpful. You don't need to come up with something, you know. You don't need to come up with something to say. You don't need to come up with answers. You don't need to come up with some miraculous uh, perspective that's going to help them somehow, because there kind of really isn't. You need to let people grieve the way they need to. But I don't know. Getting back to the Turtles, they were pretty gracious and just invited me out to ride along on a few shows they were doing, and at the time I could definitely say I really needed it. I needed to get out of the house. I needed to be around music without it being an obligation. And I needed to be around people who were just okay doing what they do, and letting you be around for it, and not feel like there was this, like I said, not feel like you were around people who were under pressure to say something, or soothe, or help you
Mhm.
get through something that really you have to just kind of get through, and so yeah, I mean, it's not always feasible, and not everybody has the right moment to be able to do that for someone that you love, but yeah, I was I would say definitely that time just spending with these guys, and hearing music and being around music again was pretty helpful, and obviously, you know, kind of helped me start writing some songs again, and kind of helped me finish writing some fragments that had been starting to come out of me at the time, and eventually gave me a goal as far as somewhere to put the tunes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, and it definitely sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like you are not going to, or that you're going to continue working with the Turtles at least for a little bit longer while you're still here. And it sounds like, at least they're a good place for you, at least on your healing journey.
Yeah, man, just be a it's fine. It doesn't take that much energy to, you know, just be around people, do what you can. You don't have to you don't have to push yourself out of your zone.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I mean, that's all I have for you guys. Yeah, I really do appreciate you guys talking with me, and congrats on the record. It is such a beautiful record, and yeah, I really just want to say thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah, any final words you guys have?
Um, I don't know. I mean, again, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you talked a little bit about, we talked a little bit about how quietly and easily and things came together. Ryan talked a little bit about how kind of without much work and without much communication, the kind of the right attitude in music, you can kind of just fall in, and make space for each other. I think that was a really key thing, and I see that with these guys. It's really about seeing the whole picture, and hearing the music, and just being a little more humble, and about what your contribution is, and I don't know. time and time again in the studio and on stage, I've seen these guys
Mhm.
really, really transcend and be able to jump into something without much preparation and make, make really beautiful music that connects with people. So I don't know. It's yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you, Ryan, for being here for this and
Yeah, of course.
making
Thanks.
give
I'm
me your
honored.
comments.
And yeah, the Turtles, I think I can speak for them. We all think the world of Alan Sparhawk and Lowe and Mim. And it's a complete and total honor to be asked to play on his music. Being fans of his music, to be asked to actually be a part of it is it still hasn't even really hit me that that happened. We made a record and it turned out really good. So thank you, Al.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for talking to me. And yeah, I wish you guys about a good rest of your day. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
All right. Peace. Thank you.